Yes, it is Tuesday, and you are listening to Real Estate U live here on Hot News Talk Radio. That's 1240, 1190, and 910 a.m., serving the Chattanooga and worldwide audiences at hotnewstalkradio.com. That's hotnewstalkradio.com. You can also pull us up on the TuneIn app. And all you do is go to your TuneIn app, and that's either on iPhone or Android phone, and just type in 1240 WSDT, 1240 WSDT, and you can hear us anywhere you go. My name is Eric Judd, one of the hosts here of Real Estate U, and as always, I'm with Mr. John Santero. Hello, John.
Hey, Eric. Great day to own real estate today, huh?
Every day is a great day to own
Hey,
real estate.
how did they see our smiling faces again on the?
They can go to YouTube and just go to YouTube and type in Hot News Talk Radio.
You know, because you're all dressed up. You know,
yeah, I'm actually dressed up.
I figured, maybe we can get a deduction. If we
my clothes were sponsored by.
That's it. Well, listen, it was it's great to be in Chattanooga.
It is, as always. And
they came up with a neat little thing in the paper where
today's paper, yes,
where Chattanooga is rated one of the best cities to start a business.
And that can be a real estate business.
And that's what I was going to say. You stole my thunder.
I stole your line.
Darn it. Isn't it's kind of neat because last week we were one of the best touchy-feely cities.
Yeah, now we're one of the best business cities.
Now we're one of the so
if you want to start a touchy-feely business, this is the place to be.
That's what I was.
There you go. There you go.
Stole another one.
Man, I'll
tell you what. But anyway, I think that's kind of neat because it just shows how the city with a whole bunch of other different organizations, can help with people. And I know we've been pushing real hard the tech type of businesses here, right. And the places downtown where the business incubators and whatnot.
Well, I think that has a lot to do with the business incubator because I know they put a lot of effort into that, and a lot of successful businesses come out of it.
Yeah, and they have a lot of neat programs too, where they all kind of get together, don't shower and shave for a couple of days and try to start a business.
There you go.
I tried that, but
they put showers actually in there. That's what's helped. That's what's flourished this climate.
They threw me out after a couple of days.
Hey, John, before we get too far, let's do the Real Estate U Real Estate Minute. And it's brought to you by Investor Real Estate Services. They work with you to sell, buy, or manage your property. You can call them at 423-443-4878. Today's minute is home is where the heart is, and equity. 61.4% is the average American family's net worth, and it is in their home equity. This is even after the meltdown of 2008 and 2009. So equity is built in your home, and that's where most Americans have their savings. This Real Estate Minute was brought to you by TriStar Development for all of your remodeling, rent-ready, and new construction projects. Call 888-CALL-744. That's 888-CALL-744 for more information. Join Real Estate U every Tuesday from 11 a.m. till noon p.m. on Hot News Talk Radio, and that's today's Real Estate Minute.
We were going over last week a little bit about diversifying and different types of investment strategies. And I thought maybe we should kind of go into that a little bit deeper tonight.
Yeah, I think you're right, because, next week at the Chattanooga RIA, you're going to have, it's really the kind of the money meeting where you're going to have people there from different financial sources. And as John said, a lot of times we just automatically assume when we throw out the word, private lender or hard money lender or whatever, that people know what that is. And we feel like we need to probably explain that a little more in this segment. But don't forget that the Chattanooga RIA meeting is the 7th, right?
Yep. It's next Thursday, then the following. And we're going to have a panel of local banks, savings and loans, like Eric said, hard money lenders, private lenders. And it's going to be kind of like an open forum, I think, this time around, where you can get to ask questions. Of course, everyone's going to have a little talk about what they do and how they do it. And then we're going to open it up to a lot of questions. So if you have a potential deal that's cooking, you might want to bring that with you also. And this way you can kind of talk with a couple of different avenues and see which is the best one, best avenue for you for your funding.
Yes, it is. And, the RIA, as always, is if you're interested in real estate, whether you've been in real estate for 20 years or
or like us, 20 days.
Or 20 minutes, 20 years or 20 minutes, you can come to the Chattanooga RIA and they're going to help you out. It's going to provide you, first of all, good information, and you're going to be able to socialize and network with people of like minds, which is really what you want to do if you're a new investor, or maybe you're a seasoned investor and you're ready to give something back and maybe mentor somebody or just talk with someone, or maybe it's a way to get a free lunch out of it.
Well, it's always a way to get a free lunch. Let's get into a little bit. Everybody has a pretty good idea of what a go to the bank. But I think most of us out there own our own homes. We've went through the loan process. If you haven't gone through a loan process recently,
yes,
get your hand ready because you're going to be signing until the cows come home.
The first home I bought, I swore I would never buy another home after going through that process.
Really?
Yeah, the closing was about 4.5 hours.
Get out of town.
Oh no, it was terrible.
What were you closing?
A single family home.
Really?
Yeah, for about $100,000.
Well,
it wasn't anything like $1 million closing where and it was just purchase. There was no, there wasn't any dual closing.
Well,
or anything.
there's so many duplications of paperwork now. It's laughable. And we went through a closing just was it
Friday?
Friday. Yeah. And how quickly they come and go. But and you're sitting there, and it was pretty much a standard bank closing. And you're just going through paperwork,
the buyers
paperwork,
signing
and sign this. And we already said this, but sign this again.
Yeah.
So, all right. So most people know a little bit about regular bank stuff.
Right.
Okay? Savings and loans are going to be pretty similar. Some of them keep it in-house. Some of them sell them off.
And a savings and loan could also be a credit union.
And that's true.
Which is probably what they call themselves now. So it's the savings and loan debacle of the 80s.
Well,
80s or 90s?
It was the 80s. And so those are terms that are pretty easy. Now we get into private money lending, and there's a whole slurry of different things of what you can do with private money lending. So maybe let's get into that a little bit. And what is it? I mean, what do you have to be a major corporation to be a private money lender,
or can you be an individual?
Right. Well, most of the private lenders that we use are just regular individuals. They don't have to have
but they're not going out
an FDIC after their name.
No, they don't.
But
there are institutional private lenders.
Yeah, there's institutional private lenders. So which one do you want to get into first?
Let's start institutional and then go individual.
I wanted to go
because if we go individual, then people are going to think we're putting the individuals in the institute because they're crazy for lending money.
That's true.
So let's go institutional.
Let's go ahead and do that. Because of the multitude of restrictions banks have, there's another area now that opened up that are private lenders kind of pooled together and are offering private money or hard money. Okay.
And that term comes from non-bank money.
It can be a hedge fund. It can be just 3 or 4 people that said we're going to go out and lend money.
Could be one person,
and then it goes back to the single individual. But as far as there's a number of them that are sponsors also for the RIA. So if you come to the RIA, you'll meet a couple of these companies there. 1 or 2 have even been on our radio show.
Yes, we have had private lenders,
and what they do is have a system that you fit into their program that they set up, and most of them are, wouldn't you say, larger regional or even national lenders?
Yeah, I would say especially regional. Most of the institutional, they like to go, not too far from their home base. They may operate in 6 or 8 states, and usually they stay in a regional part of the country, the Southeast, the North, the Midwest. That way they know the properties, they know the type of individuals they're going to be lending to. And there are a few national lenders, but they seem to have regional offices where they concentrate in that area.
Yeah. So then they come up with a parameter of what you fix, and a lot of times what we find there's some generalities between them all. Most of them are going to have some sort of percentage of equity that they want to have in the deal, right?
Right, and just about all of them are property or project based.
Right.
They really don't go in and pull your credit and look at you, even though they will, but they're probably looking at your experience more, but they're looking at the project. What is it going to cost to buy the property, rehab it, and then what is your exit strategy?
Because their collateral basically is going to be the property. So they want to see what you have, what the property is, if you bought the property right, and if the deal does go south, if they're going to take it over and come out ahead on it.
And that's the big difference in banks, where the banks are putting the onus on you to pay them back.
That's right.
Private lenders are more looking at the property. If they have to take it back, are they going to be in a position on the property where they have equity?
So most of them now are going to vary between anywhere from 80% down to 65% on an equity.
Probably
base.
70% is the norm.
I'm going to agree with you. Probably 70% is about a norm. And they're going to charge you, and it's short term, right? It's not going to be most of them are not going to be
they're not doing a 30 or 15-year loan.
No, it's going to be a 12-month loan or even less in some instances. Now, there's some that are rolling out some new product that's going to be longer term, but basically right now that's where they stand so they're looking at something that you're going to go in and have, let's say 70% loan to value in there.
And that's after repaired value most of the time.
And that's right. It's called an ARV after repair value. And
very good. And we're in the military now.
And then they also look at obviously how much their APR is going to be. They're not cheap, but they're pretty easy to get the funds. You're not going to go through the big paperwork hassle that you're going to get with a regular bank, but you're paying for that in fees.
Well, the rates are higher, and then your points are probably going to be higher.
Your points are going to be higher, but they're short term.
Yeah, and the reason for that is because they want you in and out.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You can try doing that with your bank, but if you're going to go in and have a collateral base and be in and out in less than a year, your bank's not going to be very happy because they're not
making any money.
They're not making any money, and they have to jump through all the hoops and hoopla to get you approved. So most of the times I see investors do something with a rolling line of credit,
right?
With the bank. So they'll put some collateral up and they'll get, like even a second on your home or something like that, or where
maybe they have a piece of rental property that's paid and they'll take a second out on it.
Yeah. And then you'll have a credit line and you'll just,
and that is a lot cheaper than going with but like you said, the hassle is there.
Well, a bank is going to probably have you do a personal guarantee no matter what.
Yes.
So these people normally are not going to have you do a personal guarantee, and that's going to not putting everything that you have up to the table. So you're really just doing your collateral on what you're doing right then and there. So and institutional wise, now
sometimes the institutional wise, they will. I mean, they're still probably going to appraise the property.
Oh, they
want to see and will help you. Some of them will actually help you when you lay out your project and your cost and your exit strategy. They may help you with that. They may help you, say, hey, we feel like your costs are a little high here. If you did this and this, you could probably get them lower, so that it can keep you within that loan to value.
Oh, I agree. That they're definitely a second pair of eyes financially on your project, where
because they want you to be successful.
They don't want your property. They want to get paid.
The similarity with the bank. Nobody wants the property.
They don't want the property. So yeah, they'll give you a look see, and now you're going to be paying for an appraisal. You're going to be paying for a few things up front to have that luxury. But you're right. It is a good checkpoint. If they're not liking it and you go to somebody else and they don't like it, chances are it's a deal that you have to really watch. So anyhow, we're going through this. So it can be, like you said, Eric. It can be
so kind of
regional.
Give an example, John. Let's walk through an example for them. Let's say you find a property that you could purchase, and we'll make it easy around it for $50,000, but you figure that the after repaired value of the property is about $100,000.
Okay. So then that means that if they're doing 70%, then they'll lend you up to $70,000 on something like that. Again, it has to appraise for that 100,000.
Right.
Now, most of them are also going to say, well, you have to have some skin in the
deal. They do want you to bring some money in.
So they'll, out of the 70,000, they're going to say that's what we're going to lend you, but you're going to have to put in maybe 20% or something like that. So that drops that.
And that's down. 20% of the 70.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're looking at 14 grand out of your pocket.
Right. And then they'll do the balance.
And they'll have points probably.
Some of them would have points up front, and some of them will have a higher price per month. So it's really a big pie in how they slice that pie.
Some of them you pay monthly on the money that you've already taken out of the project, and some of them you pay at the end of the project.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of them that comes differently, and so there's a way to go. You can go and finance something with other people's money, and if you plan it right and you account for your expenses for your attaining money, and you're still making money, hey, that's not a bad deal right there either.
Yeah, and also, a lot of times they'll, like John said, it's a short-term loan. So it may be a 6 or 9 month loan, but at the end of that 9 months, if it is a 9-month loan and you need another 3 months, you can pay a couple extra points usually to get that extended another 3 months. Now they won't keep doing that, but they will help you out there.
You really want to stay in their initial confines if you can. One of the ways that we use that, Eric, is we may need funds right away for a purchase, where we can use these companies to come in and help us purchase that. And then once we go in, rehab it, and put a renter in, then we have income coming into the property, and then you can have other sources of financing to basically refi out of your existing loan, the short term, and go into more long-term financing. Whereas a bank may not want to do that right away. They don't want to go through like a construction loan for you, but they'll be happy to do a long-term cash flowing property.
That's absolutely correct. And that is one of the strategies. The other strategies, a lot of people use this on just, flips, where they're going to go in and they're going to buy the house. They know they're going to put a certain amount in it and then just sell it on the retail market.
Yeah. Yeah,
and that's probably the most common that you're going to see with the private money, especially the institutional money.
Yeah, that's where I guess that's where they kind of came up with their strategy was that type of flipping buyer. Now that morphed into a number of different other strategies that they're using. But I think that you're right. The existing program was to go in and do a flip and have somebody in and out within less than a year.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct.
Now we're looking at maybe an individual. How would an individual work on something like that?
And you look at it a couple of ways. You could be the individual where you're looking at a return on your money, and you have cash money that you want to be a passive investor in the real estate, or you could be looking around and saying, I really don't want to go with the big institutions. I would rather work with a private person lender. Well, and that way you can work together to set up the best strategy for the both of you.
And that's a good play. Let's
like a joint venture to a certain degree.
Let's take an individual that has some discretionary funds they want to invest. As you said, a passive investor. Now there's ways of investing in real estate, in REITs and in hedge funds and different, and a lot of people have those products, and some of those products have done well and some of those products haven't done well. And diversify into specific markets. You can go commercial, you can go residential, you can go abroad. So there's a lot of product out there that are kind of stock based.
But if you're a local person and you want to invest in local Chattanooga real estate in a passive way, what John's about to talk about would be the best way to do
that. Then you go that direction, and I'm not saying that's a bad direction to take, but now you say, all right, how can I do this and keep my risk lower than me going out and buying a house and fixing it up myself, but still help the community, invest local, kick the tires here, and still be semi-involved.
Yeah. And how to set up safeguards on that too for yourself.
And set up those safe. Obviously, if you're going to be putting your money in a larger RIT, that you're not going to call up and say, I don't think that was a good purchase.
Or hey, I want to purchase. Or I like my money to go over
house
here
down the street. Yeah. You want to buy this one. Whereas investing local, you can do that. What we do with our local investors is set a price of a return. Now that can be paid monthly, it can be paid quarterly. That really depends on what the investor wants.
Some of it can be paid in points. Some of it can be paid in the return on the back end.
Right, and it depends on what the risk factor the investor wants to do. If they want some sort of risk factor, then obviously it's going to go. Your returns are going to go up. If you just want a straight, hey, I don't care what you're doing, I just want, I'm making up a number, 8%. Then that's, and I'm going to give this to you for a certain amount of time.
And it may be, the first time you invest with them or they invest with you may be higher than the third or fourth time, because you have a proven track record and you're showing that you can turn their money in a way that takes some of the risk out of it.
Yeah. And what you do also is you make sure that that money is secure. The money is going where you say the money's going into. It's going into a property. You have check guards on that. Obviously, there's a first trust deed we use, so that if the name or sometimes it's the property is even titled in the investor's name too. So there's a lot of different safeguards you can have. We also use land trusts as a vehicle, so that you have a beneficiary interest into the property through the land trust. So you secure that amount. Obviously, too, that when you there's going to be draws if you're going to be doing any type of renovation. There's going to be checks on those draws. It can be a third party person that goes out and evaluates that, yes, there was
they did all the electrical.
The roof is on. The electric is in. And that's an easy way of doing that too.
And we're coming up on the break. So after the break, John, let's get into talking about the individual that is going to loan money to another individual, how to structure that so that each party has safeguards in place. So, because this is a real way to, if you want to invest passively in real estate and do it more on an individual basis here in Chattanooga, that you can do this. And at the same time, it's also a real way if you want to get into real estate and you're looking for money, and you need to do it so that, as always, it's a win-win situation for both parties. It can't be weighted all one side, because then, at the end of the deal, everybody's going to feel like, well, I didn't do so good, or, or whatever. But I know, done this enough that put certain safeguards in so that both are happy.
Yeah.
Before we go to the break, just want to mention one more time that the Chattanooga RIA's meeting is on the 7th of May, and you're going to have all types of lenders there. You're going to have banks, you're going to have credit unions, you're going to have private lenders, hard money lenders, maybe even individuals that lend. So, you want to be a part of that. It starts at 6:30, and you get there a little early. They do have food. If you're not a member, it's $25. If you want to check into membership or you want more information, go to the website. That's ChattanoogaRIA.com. That's Chattanooga, REIA.com. And, you can see exactly where the location is, a great location, great venue for it, and come and be a part of that. And like I said earlier, be around like-minded people that are going to invest in real estate. And just about every time you're going to learn something. As always, you are listening to Hot News Talk Radio. This is Real Estate U, and we will be right back after this break.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
We've got a table here at Delia's in Saudi Daisy, ready to delight in a plate of authentic Mexican food. Delia's spreads a rich selection: loaded nachos, crazy chicken, homemade tamales, maybe the enchiladas with beef, chicken, pork, quesadillas. Every dish beautifully pictured on the menu to help us decide. Join us for lunch or dinner. We're at Delia's in Saudi Daisy on Dayton Pike near the Thrasher Light. Here's dinner. Delia's uses the freshest ingredients, cooked to perfection. Nachos, homemade. Delia's open every day except the Lord's Day. For lunch and dinner, treat yourself to Delia's genuine Mexican food. In Saudi, call 521-7145. That's 521-7145.
Are you tired of working in corporate America, or have you recently lost your job and would like to consider owning your own business? If you are, please call me, as I can help you look at franchises or business opportunities that fit you, the economy that we're in, and the type of businesses that are right in the greater Chattanooga area. After I help my clients find the right opportunity, I also help them find the best way to finance the business, including paying yourself through the startup phase. If you would like to learn more about opportunities that may be right for you, please call me for a free assessment. My name is Bruce Krebs at the Entrepreneur Source. Phone number is 423-875-5621.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
If the South would have won, we'd have had it made. I'd probably run for president of the Southern state. The day Elvis passed away would be our national holiday. If the South would have won, we'd have had it made.
NASCAR, Laura Ingram, Dennis Miller, David Toulis, Coast to Coast AM, and CBS Radio News. Chattanooga's news, talk, and sports leader.
News Talk 1240.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
I just moved to my new house today. Moving was hard, but I got straight away.
You are listening to Hot News.
About to embark on a journey through real estate and real estate investing. This is Real Estate U.
Hot News Talk Radio is what you're listening to. You're listening to Real Estate U. Of course, the radio dial, you can find us at 1240, 1190, and 910 a.m. Or you can go to hotnewstalkradio.com. That's hotnewstalkradio.com, or get your TuneIn app and go to 1240 WSDT. You can follow us on Twitter. You can even go to our website, which is realestateu.org. If you've missed one of the shows, or if you want information about anything that we've talked about, it's usually there within a couple of days. And we try to split the segments of the show up so that you can catch them in 30-minute segments. You can even on your smartphone, go to our website and you can download those. They're on YouTube also. And we are talking about money. And my name is Eric Judd, and as always, I'm here with John Santero. And John, we were talking about an individual hard money lender.
Well, we were talking about how you can invest in the local market, having your regular job, not having to, bug out and put in a toilet,
right?
And or get calls and saying that the something's leaking, and still be able to make use of what's going on in today's real estate. So we were talking a little bit about how investors get money for doing their work. And we talked a little bit about how banks are not really set up for those short-term type of buying and selling. and other agencies now and other institutions have stepped in to take over that part of the marketplace where the banks can't wrap their arms around.
Right.
So one of the ways of doing that is private money and hard money lending, a short-term type of deal. And
short-term meaning 12 months or less.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, sometimes short-term can be 3 years. I mean, it all depends on what the
project
the individuals are going to want to do. But what happens is that now real estate opens up a whole avenue for individuals to work with another individual to say, okay, let's go and invest in something. It's we're not opening up a whole big business. We're not creating.
You're diversifying your portfolio where you've probably got investments in stocks and maybe some mutual funds or even some bonds. Now, this is a way to get into real estate without, like John said, without being a property owner. And maybe you don't want to deal with the everyday things that happen with a property owner. You just want to be a passive person. You want to be the armchair quarterback that, watches from the sideline but makes money.
Basically, Eric, you want to be the bank.
Yeah, you are the bank.
What does the bank do? The bank's going to sit there every month and say, where's the check? All right,
that's what you're going to do.
That's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to be the bank. So what happens is, how do you set it up where you can be the bank and be secure in your investment, knowing that the money is going into that investment, that the guy's not, running off to Costa Rica or something. Not that I would go to Costa Rica.
No.
Did I say that out loud? Or,
I was thinking Resaca, Georgia is where you're going to run off to.
Run off to Rome, Georgia, and be able to participate in what's going on now in the real estate market. So
let's kind of walk through
how do you do it?
So first of all, I come to you or you come to me and I say, look, John, I've got a great project here. I can get this house for about $40,000. It's going to take about $25,000 worth of work. And I think I can sell it for, at the low end, 110. Now, what do you need to do lending me money to put some protections in for yourself?
Well, what you just described, Eric, is a project-based investment situation.
You probably want to know a little bit about me.
Sometimes it's project-based. Sometimes it's a company-based where you say, hey, I'm going to lend you X amount of dollars for X term, and you do one or two deals, but this is what I want at the end. But let's just go into what a project base is. So you come up and you have now
you're the lender, and this is what you're going to do.
And this is what I want to see.
Okay.
If somebody's going to be offering that to me. And the funny thing is that just on the way here to the radio station,
you got a phone call.
I got a phone call from somebody doing the same thing. So, and this is exactly what I told them to do. Send me, the information on the property.
Okay.
I want to verify what his original cost is going to be. I want to verify to the best of my ability what the property is going to sell for.
So you want the after repaired value.
I want
to know what that's going to be.
Value, and I want to see a line item.
So he needs to also send you his
budget.
Yeah, his budget and what the repairs he's going to do.
Right.
Now, do you want to go look at the property?
Well, I do, because I like to see the property myself. And I get a good gut feel on that. Some other people may not want to, because what are they looking at? It's like, oh, here it is. Oh, okay, there it is.
And I would encourage, if it's the first time you're lending, to at least drive by it.
Oh yeah, you want to
know it's there. That address exists.
You look at if they've done their homework right. Hopefully it's the ugliest house on the nicest block.
Right.
And you're able to see where, okay, I can see how this house is going to go for about $120,000. I want to see his backup in his comps, and I think I want to just have a couple of references on what was the last deal you
is this
did,
your first project,
and what was the one before that. I personally don't want to be the first guy in on this, especially if I'm new in real estate investing. I want to make sure that there's one or two other guys that
and they should have a portfolio. I've done these 5 and here's what, and a lot of guys will take pictures and because they want to show you it started looking like this, it finished looking like this, and here's what I sold it for.
Yeah. I'm not that thrilled on the picture stuff. I really want to look at the numbers more than anything. So I guess my big thing is that I like to call and get some verification on other investors.
Okay.
You know, and who else have you worked with? What other project have you completed? How long did it take? You know, and everything, I use the 10% rule where everything they say, I kind of take off 10%. Okay. You know, so if they say it's going to be, we're going to have it, or I'll add 10%.
Yeah.
Depends.
So we're going to be all in at 65.
We're going to be all in at 65. If that's all I have, and I don't have a dime more, I may not want to do that because what happens if something happens and we need another $5,000? $5,000 isn't a lot of money. Unless you didn't plan for it.
Would you have them put any money in the project?
Then that's the other side of it. I will put in this amount of money, but I want you to commit for anything that goes over that. And everybody can say, yeah, but where is the money?
Right.
You know, do you have that aside?
Maybe you have them put $5,000 in, and you're holding $5,000 back for any over.
That's what I'm just trying to say, Eric. That you think it through a little bit. So that you're safe on what you're doing. And most people would say, yeah, that's okay.
It needs to be incentivized for both the lender and the borrower. The borrower needs to, get the job done right and as quickly as possible and get out. But the lender has to have incentives too to lend the money.
Right. Well, you want to be able to know that your money's coming back. If it's a monthly draw down on your finances, where's that money coming from? Is it coming from the money I lent you? Is it coming from another spot? Is there equity in the property? Am I paying for the whole 100%? And that's okay. If you pay for the whole 100%, you should get a little bit more.
Well, let's talk about how 8%. You're going to be secure. How do you secure yourself in the project? I know you talked about before the break, land trust, you talk about some other vehicles. How would you secure yourself?
There's a number of different ways you can, right? You can own a first trust deed, which is a lien against the property. So,
which means you own the property during the time that
it means you have a loan against it. You don't have to necessarily own it.
But you could if it goes south.
But you'll take it over quickly. And what I do with my investors is I also give them, if they take a first trust deed, they also have a document that they can file that would be like a quick claim.
Okay.
So that if I have to get out of it, if there's any reason that I got hit by a truck or something like that, they don't have to go through a whole foreclosure process,
and it's a lot of expensive.
Or you can be joint ventured. You can own title and be on the title, so you can have a title position as well as the person that is that you're going in, that's going to be doing the work. They can have a title position. It doesn't have to be 50-50. It can be whatever percentages you want. That's another way of doing it.
The land trust.
You can put the property now, instead of an individual owning it, a land trust would own it. So a 123 Main Street land trust, if you own 123 Main Street, and then the beneficiaries in there can easily be transferred in and out, and percentages can be done in and out. Okay. So that there's another way of having a position. What I like about the land trust is that can easily be changed around. So let's say I put in $20,000 and it's $100,000 property. Well, that's 20%. Then I put in another 20, so that's 40,000 on 100.
So you can change
then I change that to now I'm 40%. And on and on and on. It's just an easier way of doing that. Some people even set up an LLC. I think that's a little bit more.
It's cost prohibitive. You're going to lose some of your.
Again, it depends on how long you're going to be in it. if you're looking at being in the property for over a year, I would suggest maybe going with an
maybe
LLC.
You're going to do multiple properties,
or you want to do multiple properties. That's correct. So,
how about insurance? Do you make sure that the person doing the work and do you verify and make sure they've got their insurance certificate and do you get a copy of that?
Well, the obviously you can have property insurance,
right?
All right. So
you'll carry that, or do you have them?
Well, you would have them carry it for at least the fair market value amount, so that if
and you would be the lender, would be the beneficiary,
and you would be the beneficiary.
Okay.
Correct. So you get paid off first, as any first trust deed would do.
Right.
All right. So this is just regular. We're not making this stuff up. This is what banks do.
Yeah, kind of following that model.
You're following their model. You are just stepping in the role of being the bank.
And they've learned to do it, and they have nice big buildings showing that they've learned to do it. So
that's what
don't reinvent the wheel.
That's what they're supposed to do,
yes.
Right? I mean, they're not making money on your deposits. They're making money on loaning out money. So that's basically what you're doing. You're loaning out money to individuals. And what's nice about that is that if you get into the deal and maybe you weren't happy with what the person says, I would also set up some sort of time frames where you meet and it could just be at Panera for a cup of coffee,
right? Just
to kind of overview of what's going on. You don't want to spend that much time, but I also think that you want to know what is going on with the project.
Well, and you said something earlier about maybe a third-party verification.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways. Again, depending on the dollar amounts and whatnot, you can have third-party verifications. That's where somebody would come in and just verify that the work has been done, so that a fund release can go out. It can be another contractor. It doesn't have to be a licensed professional. It can just be somebody that both parties trust to say.
And they kind of walk through. I mean, they're not going to go. They're not doing the inspection like a electrical inspection. They're just making sure that the project is kind of where the borrow said it is.
Right.
John, right quick. We're going to finish this up, but let's once again talk about the Real Estate Minute, and that's brought to you by TriStar Development. For all your remodeling, rent-ready, new construction projects, contact them at 888-CALL-744. That's 888-CALL-744 for more information. Today's Real Estate Minute is that home is where the heart is, but not only that, it's where your financial equity is too. And over 60% of the average American family's net worth is in their home. And this is even after the meltdown of 2008 and 2009, that equity is still in their financial equity is still in their home. And that's why real estate is so important. Once again, the Real Estate Minute has been brought to you by Investors Real Estate Services. They work with you to help you sell your house, help you to buy a house, and even manage your property or lease your property. You can call them at 423-443-4878. That's 423-443-4878. And that is today's Real Estate Minute. Now back to what we were talking about, being a local private money lender, individual to individual.
A lot of times you're sitting there and you want to diversify, you want to help the community, you want to make money. I mean, this is hard-earned money. You've put a lot of time and effort to get that money, and you deserve to protect it and to have your money work for you.
Right.
So if you're at that position where you can do that, getting into these type of short-term real estate based projects is really a good play. There's not a lot that you have to really worry about. We kind of got into it, and maybe people got a little scared. I got to do this, got to do that, but it's really not a big deal. Most of the times that all can be handled into closing.
Yes.
With a title company, it's really it's
and the documents. I mean,
the documents
they're fairly simple
hard.
Documents. You don't need an attorney to write them or anything.
Banks are doing it all the time. A title company would be able to do a first trust deed without any problems. You working out some of the details with the person that's going to be buying renovating and selling that property can be as long or short as you want it to be.
And you can, the payment, the payback, you can work that out. It can be a monthly payback, or it can be an end of project payback. I mean, there's
so a lot of times
what I creative.
Well, a lot of times what I got with that, Eric, is that if everybody has their eye on the prize, that means that either that property is going to get rent ready and have a renter in it, or you're going to turn it around and flip it and resell it to, in the marketplace. You want that end goal to be everybody's end goal,
right?
So you don't want your the guy that's fixing the investor that's fixing the property up making money before
you're
happens,
making money, right?
So your money is making money, and sometimes what we found is a good thing is that there's some time frames. So if you get it done, if they get it done at a particular point in time, there's a benefit. If it gets sold for,
you're talking about the project, the remodel.
Right.
Let's say, if you say you have your remodel done within 60 days, it benefits the borrower, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as a borrower, I can say, listen, I'm going to give you 12 months. If it goes over 12 months, I want to have another 3%.
Right.
And I'm only going to give you another 3 months. So you want to structure it so it doesn't just keep going and going and going. You want to get in and out.
You want
and done.
Right. You want the end game.
So you make sure that that's one part of it, so that everybody's done. And then sometimes I don't have a problem if somebody says, listen, hold back my money, but I want more money. So let's say I have an 8% program. Instead of paying me monthly at 8%, I want to get my 8% when you sell it. And because of that, I'm not, not worried about paying me. I want an additional point or a point and a half. So there's another way of negotiating that. So now that, wow, that's cool. I don't have to worry about paying this guy for a while. But when I sell it and we all got money,
boom,
he can get a little bit more.
Kind of benefits both.
Yes.
And that's the way it should. And keep in mind, we're talking about local people, which is what this radio station is, what Hot News talks about all day long. Local people investing in local real estate with other local people. And this is a great way to do this. I mean, if you've ever thought about, I want to invest back into my community, this is exactly what it is. You, as John said, you're the bank, and there's certain safeguards put in so that you can lend to individuals that are going to improve areas of this city.
Yeah. And listen, there's a lot of neat things that can happen with this. It really kind of explodes out a little bit. And you start, once you get involved, you start seeing what other players are doing. You may feel a little bit more comfortable in expanding the dollars that you put in into bigger projects.
Right.
And again, being very passive about it, but treating it as a business too. I mean, we're not looking at it's not a gift. Okay. Yeah. It's an investment, and you want to do your due diligence like you would in any other investment. But it's kind of a neat way to doing it. And what I like about it too, Eric, is that you can kind of start picking and choosing who you like doing business with.
Right.
All right.
That's exactly right.
So it's not a long-term program. So if I can get in, get out, and make the margins that the person said it is, they might have done a wonderful job. But you know what? Maybe he just wasn't the same kind of guy I am. I don't know. You can find somebody else that does the same thing.
If they did a great job, maybe you sweeten the deal next time. Yeah.
And there's a lot of ways. I've seen a lot of people that went on and formed more of a long-lasting company where they go in and they take more active roles, and that's how they got involved with real estate, was going through a couple of these. Now that we can also call that almost like a joint venture. Now that means you're going. I'm bringing the funds in, but you're bringing your talent, your negotiation skills to buy a property. You're going to rehab it, and either yourself or your crew, or you're going to oversee it, and you're going to position that property to sell. So
that is correct.
I'm bringing something to the table. You're bringing something else to the table. Together, we have a successful property.
And like I said, it's local people dealing with local people to make an impact locally here in Chattanooga, which is exactly what Hot News Talk Radio is all about, especially during the day. And I mean, you're making a huge impact, and at the same time, you know, you're helping your bottom line as far as investing your money.
It's always when if you're in a situation where your money can make money. And that's really what this is about. Okay. Because now if you're able to bring in 8, 10, sometimes 15% on your money, that's a good return.
It is, and maybe you can do that twice in a year.
And turn that a couple of times. Now you have a little business that you're doing where you can, if you want to call yourself Paul's Financial Services,
whatever you want
to do,
the money man.
The money man. So that's just a great way of getting involved with
it is.
And realistically speaking, Eric, it's not really costing it's not like you're putting a whole bunch of money in infrastructure. It's all going to a project.
Right.
So just think about it. The points that people take for this and that, you know, if you put money into a RIT or something like that, you know, they're making money first, and then your stockbroker's making money, and everybody's taking a cut. And all of a sudden, the principal that you put into it is not the full principal anymore. Whereas in this type of situation,
it's your principal.
It's 100% is going to go into that.
And, you know, granted, are you taking a risk as with any investment? Yes. But, you know, you're controlling that risk a little more than you would if you're just taking your money and, as you said, putting it in a RIT or a hedge fund. I mean, and granted, they're going to have, you know, their story of success, and here's where we're normally at, but still it's risk in investing in money. Why not, risk that locally?
Yeah. Well, again, doing the due diligence is the way to do it. Having that plan up front, so everybody agrees on what that plan is. So, a month or two down the road, you pull out a piece of paper and say, hey, this is where we said we were going to be.
Right.
At this time. Well, blah, 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 blah. Well, maybe we should reassess where we're at again. And there's ways of just checking the status as you go along, which you're never going to have.
No.
In a lot of
you're
other
not going to be able to call them up. Hey, if you will, John, why don't you give your phone number out, and if someone is looking to do a deal or, you know, has money to invest or whatever, they can get a hold of you.
Well, my personal cell number is 423-618-3980. That's 423-618-3980. Love to have any type of people coming over and having a sit down and just have a meet and greet kind of thing.
We'll give John a call if you're interested in that. We hope this has been very informative. As I said, you know, we talk about this all the time, but we felt like we needed a show to explain it. We'd like to thank you for listening to Real Estate U. We'd like to thank Investor Real Estate Services for being our main sponsor. Give them a call at 423-443-4878. That's 423-443-4878. Extension 3, ask for Regina Johnson. Ask about their tenant guarantee, and most important, ask her about their next day funds that they do on rental payments. Once again, you're listening to Real Estate U. You can see us at realestateu.org. Go there, visit, sign up to be on our mailing list. And you are listening to Hot News Talk Radio. That's 1240, 1190, and 910 a.m. And up next is the Digital Drive with Mr. Russell.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's got third. He's going for second. Earnhardt going for the lead.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is on the Motor Racing Network. Coverage continues Sunday here at Live on the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
NASCAR. You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
WSDT Sunny Daisy, Chattanooga.
CBS News. I'm Steve Kathan. A Baltimore sports hero is calling for calm the day after devastating rioting.
No way this can happen in our city. young kids, you got to understand something. Violence is not the answer. Violence has never been the answer.
Former Ravens linebacker Ray Lewis posted his plea on Facebook. President Obama is expected to comment about the situation in Baltimore at a joint news conference with Japan's Prime Minister soon. CBS's Chip Reed says the National Guard is part of the effort to keep the peace in Baltimore today.
It is a very heavy police presence. I do see people driving. That heavy law enforcement presence has made people feel comfortable enough that they are getting back to their lives, but certainly not in the numbers you would normally see out here.
For a second night,